Hello everyone, my name is Art Loft and I am a 3D modeling hobbyist. I wanted to focus in this tutorial on the idea and practice of sculpting and starting from a base mesh as opposed to creating a sculpting base from primitives. So for example, what we have here is I've introduced a sphere, and if I reduce it down to 0 post subdivisions, then you can see it's a cube. Anyone that has done 3D modeling knows that when you take a cube and you add a level of subdivision, you get that. And then another level gives you that, and another level gives you that, which is a sphere. It's a quad sphere. It's made up of little squares, and those are called quads. And a quad consists of 4 vertices for the corners, 4 lines, and 1 face. So I will always start at this level of post subdivision because it's so pliable, so easy to work with, and you can quickly move it into the shape that you want before you start multiplying it into a denser mesh. So we'll just validate that. So we'll close this, and here we have the move tool. We'll open the radius right up, and I'm on the front view. I'll just come up here to the center. I'm going to pull down this for the chin. We'll bring in the sides, something like that. Bring up the back. And we start getting closer to developing a head with a jaw. Something like that. And of course, the head is never round. A little flat on top. Starts to take on a bit of a boxy shape. And of course we would want our mandible or jaw to have straight edges. So that's what we're doing there. You can bring this back up a little bit. Something like that. Bring out the flatten tool. Low intensity. Just enough to flatten that. There we go. And then we could taper off from the head down to the jaw to the chin. And if I was to continue with this, I would say I'm just about there. Had the wrong tool, had the flatten tool still. Alright, so at this point now, we could add a neck, add ears, but we're just going to subdivide. And we're in a position with this level of subdivision and a good basic shape. We could start working on the eyes. like that. But you can see we're having problems here because the quads are still quite large. And I want to introduce, in the display settings, there's an option called smooth shading. And I have that turned off. It's not highlighted. I like to do that because I like to see the impact that my brush has on the mesh. If I were to turn it on, then you would have a much smoother. And so I almost always work with it off. So now we're in a position where we have to add more subdivision. And we can try doing that again. I think that's a good level to work with generally. You know, we can start cutting around cutting out the face and around the mouth, the barrel of the mouth. We could turn off subtraction, and we can put in the cheekbones, you know, and then, you know, for me, because I work with smooth shading off, I like to just do some work, cut, and smooth. I want to give credit to a YouTuber. He's a professional 3D artist, and his YouTube channel is called Speedchar. And he's a very gifted and very entertaining person to be doing these sort of tutorials. And he has been he has had the greatest impact and influence on me with regards to modeling the human head. So if you're interested, just search Speedchar. I think it's a short form of speed character, but it's Speedchar. And check out his video sets. So getting back to this, so eventually we're going to have to increase our subdivision. Now we're at level 4, and this is where you would be in the final stages of your sculpt. You know, this is where you can apply the fine details. You've got quads that are small enough to accommodate the finer details. And again, turn on smooth shading. You can see. But where I'm going with all this is we're going to turn on the we got the wire mesh on. Now we're going to turn it on. It's a very dense mesh, and so I'm going to show you a finished product. We'll delete that. I think I was doing some work earlier, so we don't need that. So here's a sculpt that I've done, and as you can see, a lot of detail. It's fun. I like sculpting. I've worked hard at it. I'm an intense learner, that's for sure. I'm a very curious person, so I'm finding this to be very interesting. But the point I'm making here is I turn on the wire mesh and it's almost a silhouette. It's almost completely black. You can see some light, and that's just a high resolution, and you can't avoid that. That is what your sculpt is going to look like, especially in organic. Well, you know, hard surface too. I'm finding hard surface, in order to keep those sharp edges, you need the higher resolutions. So I just want to show you here. So this here is a base mesh. So instead of starting out with a cylinder like I was doing earlier and forming the head and then joining, putting a neck on it and pulling out the ears, or using a cylinder for the ears, and then you'll voxel mesh it all together into one solid mesh, and you know, you've got something you can sculpt, but it doesn't have what we call edge loops and face loops. If you look here around the eye, you can see these circles, and around the mouth, the lips, inside the nose. And the ears. I find the ears, when I do sculpting around the ears, I get a lot of bump. Even at high resolutions, I get a lot of little tiny microscopic almost bumps. Hard to get rid of. So what I did was, I took a sculpt like this, and I went into this tab, and here you can choose, tap on your model, and then decimate it, and then eventually you can UV unwrap, but you have to be low. You have to get below 100,000 vertices, and that's cool. Basically, if you turn on when you're done, it doesn't change the shape. You still have your shape. I mean, but it just looks like a whole bunch of triangles put together. So that topology is useless for any further work. You can't rig it, you can't animate it. So I went into Blender with my decimated model, and it looked like this with more detail. And I retopologized over top of it. And for those that have never retopologized, you can look that up. But basically what you're doing is you take your high resolution model and you create a mesh, a very loose mesh, on the surface, following the contours. And I'll show you a picture. Oops. Yeah. So once the retopology was done, I created these seams, marked these seams around the different areas, and I used those areas to UV unwrap the model, and then I just colored them separately. These are all in, UV islands. There's a front view. So what I'm finding is this is a really superior mesh to start with. And largely because even though my resolution isn't that high, I have all this detail. And, you know, I created some loops, I put some extra loops around the eyes so that, you know, I don't know if you've ever tried modeling eyelids. It's almost like you have to really get the resolution up there before you can get these nice clean eyelids. But here I'm starting with them. Right? I love it. So I'm going to turn smooth shading off. And now, you know, you can see the rougher version. And with the wire mesh off, you can still see the faceted faces. But, and then now I'm going to work only in multi-resolution. So I can go up one level, and now use the clay. Now I can add this beautiful detail with really like hardly any effort. It's so responsive. It's silky smooth. Then you can still, you know, use your smooth brush and smooth things out. And anyways, I'm very happy with it. Let's see here. Maybe I'll show you a model I'm working on. This is I just looked for a female front and side profile picture on the internet, and of course I'm using changing the overlay, or you can change the alpha. But yeah, and so this is where I'm at, you know, on the side. You know, it's, I mean, I've got a lot of definition in there, like the eyelids are nice and crisp, and got the ears and that, and of course I got smooth shading turned off. But the incredible thing is that mesh is just still so pliable. It's beautiful. I mean, so I can go ahead if there's like, if you want to start using like textures, alpha textures for skin pores, or you know, texture in the lips. that sort of thing, creases in the skin. You know, you just go up to multi-resolution and subdivide again. And you can go up, see where are we at right now. I'm going to have to turn the background off so I can read that white. I'm only at 113K. Look at that's amazing. So I can go up again, subdivide one more time. And I'm still under 1 million. And I've got all the definition, all the resolution I need to finish that model. It's unbelievable. So I'm really excited about this, and I just thought making a video about it would be, that's something I'd like to do, just share it with other people. And the cool thing is, like, with working in multi-resolution, you could at this stage, like, let's say you thought you were ready to go, and so you done some more details and whatnot. Well, then you realize, oh, I have a bit of a problem there. I'd like to, you know, smooth it out, but the mesh is too dense. So with multi-resolution, you know, you can just tap on the scale and get back your smooth, and we'll see what it does. The smoothing it does to that mesh, and then say you're done. So we will then just tap on the top of the scale again, and none of our details are lost. Beautiful. So this is a way to work in multi-resolution only, and it gives you a beautiful finish. But for me the trick was using the base mesh. So I'm really glad I spent the time creating this. I think this is version number 6, because every time I created a version, brought it back into Nomad, I found, oh, I'd like this changed or that changed. Or so anyways, I'm going to make this base mesh available for free download, and I hope you take advantage of it. Just bring it into Nomad, import it. You can do that right here, and just make sure you know where the file is, and have fun with it. Now I should point out, somebody did contact me, and because on the Nomad Sculpt Facebook page, I think it was purple. So and now this was a different model than that one, but this is the PBR UVs. So that's why you're seeing that color. So if you don't want to see the UVs, then you can just go to PBR, or you can go to matcap, and that's usually where I work, in matcap. Anyways, that's it. Have fun sculpting. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment if you wish. Give me a thumbs up if you wish. Don't give me a thumbs down, I'll find you. Okay, bye for now.